have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world when you hit that play button. So glad you did. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you with another episode of the Genesis Frequency. So thrilled to be back behind the microphone here today, back on my home turf. I was doing a bit of traveling, so well, maybe the sound was there, maybe it wasn't. I think it sounded okay. How about you? Shoot me a comment, send me an email. Hey, I haven't put the email out there in a long time. If you want to reach out, write to me, Stephen at successocean.com. Stephen with a PH, STEPHEN at successocean.com. So how you doing out there? We're going to continue right along with everything we talk about on this show. This show is about personal, professional, and leadership development. And all those areas, they're just, each one is important. Our personal development, our professional development, our leadership development. Even if we're not leading others, how are we leading our lives? It's another way to look at it. What kind of life are we leading? And when we are pursuing goals and dreams and ambitions, we will get to a point, if we're dreaming a big enough dream, we will get to a point where we might have to convince other people to go along with us, right? So, probably if you're not leading a team right now, at some point, you will be called upon to be a leader in so many ways in our lives. We are called upon that, whether it's in our personal lives, maybe in our spiritual community, maybe within the school, maybe within the university. Just Zoom calls, right? We're going to have a breakout session. Who's going to be the leader of the group? So, all good stuff here that we talk about. Don't forget to reach out to me. You want to get on my calendar, have a one on one conversation. Stephen at successocean.com is the email. The calendar is successappointment.com. And more about that at the end of the show here today. Today, what I want to talk about, we've been talking about power, we've been talking about choice, we've been talking about thoughts. Last week, we talked about the power of our imagination and how we build everything out by accessing the power of our imagination, doing it frequently and going there, getting advice and input, seeing our objective fulfilled in all the minute details, right? We're cooperating with the law of specificity. We want to see that thing built out because everything was created this way. Everything we see and experience was created twice. First in someone's imagination, somewhere, sometime, doesn't matter what it is, the desk, the doorknob, the automobile, the airplane, right? Somebody used the power of their imagination to see it, to see every detail, to work through challenges and problems and come up with that better mousetrap, so to speak, right? Well, that was last episode. We talked a lot about imagination. I don't want to go down that road because that's one of my favorite things to talk about, one of my favorite topics. What I want to get to today, whether it's imagination, whether it's our goals and our dreams and our thoughts, whatever it is, it's going to come down to one thing, whether you can do this thing or not, this goal that you set. Remember, I encourage you to set goals, to pursue dreams that excite you and scare you at the same time. They got to be big enough. If it's just something little that doesn't really move you, that something that there's no growth or that you've done before or very easily accomplished, there's not going to be any evolution. There's not going to be any growth there. So we want to pursue those dreams that will satisfy any longing and discontent you may perhaps have been feeling. And I often say, hey, nothing's too big for you to dream if you desire it. Because in all my study over the years, I go back to Lessons in Truth by H. Emily Cady, who had a quote in there, had some words in there that have stuck with me for years and years and years. And it's just you couldn't even have the desire. You couldn't even have the desire for what it is you want unless it was possible for you to achieve it. Now you have to decide if you're willing and if you're able. If you're willing to do what it's going to take, whatever that may be, and you're able to do whatever that will be. So you can think about those things, but there's another element I want to talk about today, and that's what I want to get into a little bit here today. And yes, I have spent some time in these podcasts talking about this, but it's worth repeating because I know it comes out a different way, and we're all in a different place in consciousness every single day. So sometimes you will hear things and sometimes you don't. Just like when we watch a movie, and then we watch a movie and maybe we really love it and we watch it over and over again. How many times have you watched a movie and gotten to a part or you're paying attention to a couple lines? You say, I swear I've watched that movie 5 times now and I never heard her or him say that before. I mean, there's times, I would have sworn that there's no way they had to do something to the version, as if they've taken it out of circulation, edited the thing, and put something in that I didn't hear before. Well, we're all in a different place in consciousness. That's why things like that happen all the time. What shows up is what we need to hear. So today I want to talk a little bit about belief because belief, without belief in the direction that you're going in, without belief that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish, it's not going to happen. You have to believe you can. That's why I tell people all the time. I have conversations with people, and these are free for you or anybody else. I have conversations with people all the time about their goals and their dreams and what they want to accomplish in their life. And I don't get them to think out of the box. I really encourage them to think like there is no box. And that's one of the reasons I did that episode on imagination. It's one of my favorite topics because I think we tend to put our imagination up on the shelf as we get deeper into this experience of life. We we were great at it when we were kids, right? I know with me, a kid, you give me the cardboard roll from wrapping paper, paper towel, give me an old blanket for a cape, and I could be doing have it all. That's all I needed, right? We're using our imagination every morning, especially those days with no school and summer vacation. Our imagination was working just fine. But I think we get to a point that we really do put it up on the shelf because later on we're told, hey, quit dreaming. You're dreaming. Who? You? No, not you. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You can't. You? Nah. Mm-mm. So we start buying into false or limiting beliefs that hold us back from what we really want. And so those desires of our heart turn into that longing and discontent that so often remains with people their entire life. That's why I love this work that I do, encouraging people to step out into their imagination and say yes to their dreams and then examine them, say, hey, am I willing to do this? Am I able to do this? And be realistic about that. But hey, yes, I'm willing to do this. You don't have to know how. And that's where everybody stumbles a little bit. Well, actually stumbles a lot because they get to that part, "Well, I really, really want this, but I don't know how I would do that. I have this and I have that," and then they start going down the list of excuses. But what happens? They buy into the list of excuses. They believe that those excuses have the power to stop them. They believe that those excuses stand in the way of what they want to achieve and experience in their lives. It all comes back down to you believe. Do you believe it? Do you believe in your excuses? Do you believe that those are simply challenges that you can find a way around? Let's go back to my episode on choice. You always have a choice. Do you believe there is a workaround? Whatever you're making an excuse about, it all comes down to belief. Let's look at the placebo effect. Perhaps you're familiar with placebos. They still use placebos today in medicine. I think they're more common in uh, drug trials and things like that. One group will get maybe a sugar pill or something that's not active, and other group will get the drug that's being tested, and they'll look at the results. But still, placebos are still used. Even there was an article in Harvard Health. Science has found that under the right circumstances, a placebo can be just as effective as traditional treatments. And that's a recent article. A placebo effect. Why is that? Because of the power of belief. I just did that episode on power. Here's another way power comes into play in what we want to achieve and experience in our lives. Our belief system. Think about that. Think of all the illnesses that have been cured. And that article and so many others go on to say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a pill, it doesn't matter if it's a voodoo spell, it doesn't matter if it's a drum rhythm, whatever it is, if we believe that is the thing that is going to do it. The touch of another, right? Standing in the right light, standing in front of a statue, doing this, repeating these certain words in a certain way. If our belief is in there, well, chances are it's going to come to pass according to our belief. And we see this, and I'm deeply spiritual. If you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you know that. And I incorporate my spirituality in so many of the corporate trainings and the individual training and coaching and consulting that I do. But I mean, call it spiritual, call it whatever you want. This is how we're wired. This is consciousness. What the mind can believe and conceive, the mind can achieve. Now, the way to go about this is you can accept the fact that you don't have to know how. You don't know how. I want this thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Right now, I see a lot of obstacles. I see a lot of challenges, but I'm willing and I'm able. Don't know how, but I believe I can do this because I have that inner drive. I have faith in myself. That faith and belief, they really go hand in hand. And I'm going to pursue this object of my desire. This is the direction that I am going to go in. And we hear in so many spiritual texts, all things are possible. And give it to your higher power. Give it to God, whatever you call that. Give it to spirit, whatever you need to call in to support that belief. I often tell people, I was starting to say that earlier. I often tell people when I'm having these conversations with them, hey, are you willing and able? Right. And then I get to that belief part, and then they're wishy-washy there. They waver. I often will tell them, hey, listen, you can borrow my belief in you until you have a belief in yourself that's strong enough. So don't forget about that. You can borrow someone else's belief that you can get it done. I've done this and seen it work. I said, okay, listen, let's move forward. And maybe you're not believing it right now, but you can borrow my belief in you because I believe that you can do this. I more than believe. Beyond belief and faith is that knowing. I have a knowing. Why do I know this? Because I know that our potential is infinite. And when we tap into that infinite potential in a certain way, we can be, do, and have anything it is we want to be, do, and have in life. So I say, borrow my belief, right? I believe you can do this. And they go, okay, let's do it. And then it's a matter of getting down to working on that self-image and working on that belief and clearing out those old limiting beliefs that are just not based on truth. So you really have to examine that right now. What are you believing in? Do you not engage with the power of your imagination? Do you not build out your dream? Do you not even explore your dreams? Because for some reason, you don't believe it's possible for you? I really encourage you to abandon that right now. Just set that all aside right now, because that is one of the biggest stoppers when I work with people. And if that's you, I would stop what you're doing right now, even just put this podcast on hold and go to successappointment.com and book an appointment with me. It'll show up in your time zone. Do this thing because this is one of the biggest stoppers. People believe. I don't think we have a problem with believing, it's what we believe in. I think so many people have a belief in limitation and lack and not knowing, and that they allow the how to be. If they don't know how, they believe that's their stopper. They believe in all their excuses. They believe, and this one comes up a lot. They believe it's possible for somebody else, but not for themselves. So all these things can really stop you. Growing up in the Detroit area, I often, being around Henry Ford and the car companies, was bombarded with a lot of quotes from Henry Ford. One of my favorite is, and I'm paraphrasing it here: if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. I mean, look at all Ford wanted an engine cast in one block. The Wright brothers were laughed at when they believed they could fly, though. I mean, on and on and on and on. It comes down to belief. This is part of the certain way of doing things. I don't know how. I see a lot of obstacles, but I believe I can do that. That belief will overcome everything. You wrap your belief in your love and passion for what you want. You see the finished product, you see the end game, you see and feel into what that looks like. I love the life I'm living. I'm so happy and grateful. And I now love that I am. And start filling in the blanks and do that right now. You do not have to wait to clear your beliefs right now because in your imagination, you know that all things are possible. Using your imagination, you don't even have to believe. You can just start to see it there. So do this right now and move into the feeling tone and the energy, and you will believe. Because remember, you couldn't even design it and desire it if it wasn't possible for you to achieve it. So I invite you to go there. We're getting towards the tail end of the show. I'll tell you what, where did the time go? But no, we have to look at all of our beliefs. I've been talking about what do we believe? Do we believe we can accomplish this? And don't forget, this has to do with you in your personal life, in your professional life, in your corporate life, in your small business, in relationships, in your health and physical fitness, and what you want for you all across the board. Doesn't matter what it is. This is the way we're wired. This is fact. This isn't my opinion. This isn't, well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. This is it. You have to believe. You have to have that faith moving forward. You have to believe in those things that are unseen moving into support you as you energetically use the power of your imagination, as you energetically move into the reality of the life you would love to live as something that exists right now in this moment. You have to believe. So what you want to do now is write out those statements. I'm so happy and grateful, and with love and passion, I am now living my life as I am, and put in all the I am statements. So do that, but examine your beliefs. Spend some time, schedule on your calendar some time looking at, hey, what is it that I do believe in? What is it that I don't believe in? Maybe it's time to revisit some of those things and say, hey, where did this come from? I do the thing at the beginning of the show, kind of tongue in cheek, play off my last name. My last name's Cosmina, so I'm Dr. Cause, right? Dr. Cause and Effect. You got to go to source. What did this belief come from? What is the cause for this belief? That's what this show's all about. What is the cause for what the effect we're experiencing? What is the reason we're experiencing the results we're experiencing? So do that with your beliefs. Why do I believe that I'm not smart enough? Why do I believe I'm not good enough? Why do I believe I can't do this thing? Why have I bought into that belief? And you're going to find some of these things are just not based on anything true. Most of the time, I can't find people can't find where it even came from. They've just believed that falsehood all their lives. And they're like, I don't know why I believed in that. I often tell this story about the 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 ladies were it doesn't matter if it's ladies or men, don't call me on that. They're in the kitchen at the holidays and they cut the ends off the roast, put it in the pan, and they're standing around over bottle of wine, the sisters, and they say, "Hey, I cut my ends off just like that too." Well, do you ever think about why do we do that? And they're looking at each other, three or four sisters. I don't know. I don't know why they do that. And mom's in the other room with her mom because grandma's there. It's the holidays. They go ask mom. Mom, we're just talking. We noticed we all cut the ends off our roast before we throw it in the pan and put it in the oven. And mom says, "Well, I've just always done it. I don't know. Let me think. I always done it because I learned that from my mom." And they're all having a wine and thinking, talking about it. Why do we do that? Why do we cut the ends off the roast? And the sisters do it. Mom does it. And mom says her mom does it. Grandma's over there. She's in the other room watching football with the guys. And they go ask Grandma, we noticed we all cut the ends off the roast before we throw it in the pan and put it off the oven. Why did you do that? We traced it back to you're the cause, you're the reason that we all did this. What's up with that? She goes, "Oh, well, I did all my cooking during the Depression, if you remember that, and I didn't have a lot of pots and pans. I cut the ends off because it wouldn't fit in the pot that I had." So we got to go back and we got to look. I know that little story. I love to share it. It's taken us over here a little bit, but we really have to examine our beliefs, and we have to know that we live in this field of infinite potential where all things are possible for us. All things are possible for willing and able, but we have to believe that we're willing and able too, to be that, to do that, to have that. So I think we need to spend maybe a little bit more time on this moving forward. We'll look at that as we turn on the mic for the next episode of the show next week. But start right now looking at all your beliefs and know that you have to believe this is possible. Remember that quote from Henry Ford. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are absolutely right. And on it goes. You might want to Google some belief quotes just to support you along the way. Um, it Henry David Thoreau had one that I'm very fond of. Live your beliefs and you can turn the world around. However, I use that one. Live your beliefs and you can turn the world around. Live your beliefs and you can turn your world around. But live your limiting beliefs and you'll never experience the life you would love to live if you don't believe in your ability to do that. And you can do that. So let's work on our belief and we'll talk more about that and move forward starting out with beliefs as we get together next week. For now, hey, that's going to do it for the show. Don't forget, I love to work with individuals and corporations. I do keynote talks and featured presentation talks, and hey, just getting together and do talks, no charge for nonprofits and different civic groups and that kind of thing. So if anyone you know is looking for a speaker, reach out to me. If you want to do something more formal and structured, leadership development in your organization, if you know the decision maker, perhaps you are the decision maker, I'd like to talk to you about some corporate training and development, leadership development, personal and professional productivity, get results around priority management, performance, productivity, profitability, sales, communication, all that stuff. Would love to do that. That's what I do. And would love to talk to you about whatever it is you want to experience in your life. Successappointment.com. Reach out. Let's have a conversation. Would love to talk to you. For now, that's going to do it. We're out of time for today. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast, and this is Dr. Cause, in effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmino, wishing you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.